Alright, let's break this down. The Electric State is one of those films that doesn't just ask you to watch, it asks you to feel. And by feel, I mean existential dread, childhood nostalgia, and the uncomfortable realization that humanity probably won't make it another century without turning the planet into a junkyard. The premise: dystopia, but make it aesthetic. We follow Michelle, Millie Bobby Brown, a girl on a mission to find her lost brother in a world that looks like the 80s got drunk, lost a bet, and woke up in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. America is toast. Giant, abandoned battle robots litter the landscape. Ominous floating machines loom in the sky. And most of civilization is either gone or glued to their screens like it's Black Friday at Walmart. But Michelle isn't alone. Enter Skip, a large, clunky robot that's basically the sci-fi equivalent of a tired single dad. He doesn't say much, but his presence speaks volumes. Loyal, protective, and oddly expressive despite his faceless design. If you ever wanted an emotional support robot to accompany you through the end of the world, Skip is your guy. The vibes. Imagine if Fallout had an art degree. If you've ever seen Simon Stollenhag's artwork, the guy who created the original story, you know what you're in for. The world of the Electric State is hauntingly beautiful. Vast, empty landscapes where remnants of a war nobody fully understands are scattered like forgotten toys. The cinematography makes you feel like you're walking through a fever dream, where the past and future collide in the most unsettling way. Everything feels both eerily familiar and totally alien. Abandoned gas stations with outdated signage, lonely highways stretching forever, and the unsettling presence of those floating drones that seem to be watching but never intervening. If you've ever had that "I'm the last person on Earth" dream, this movie brings it to life. The story: slow burn with a side of emotional damage. Now let's be real. The Electric State isn't an action-packed explosion every 5 minutes kind of film. This is more of a sit back, absorb the visuals, and contemplate your existence type of experience. Michelle's journey isn't just about finding her brother, it's about understanding what's left of the world, and more importantly, what's left of herself. The film takes its time, letting us soak in the environment, feel the loneliness, and piece together the story like we're walking through a museum of human failure. And just when you start thinking, maybe this isn't so bad, something deeply unsettling happens. A brief glimpse of what the war did to people. A flickering screen showing something we shouldn't see. Or an encounter with someone who seems off. Millie Bobby Brown, carrying the movie on her shoulders. Let's give credit where it's due. Millie Bobby Brown absolutely delivers. If you liked her intense, brooding performances in Stranger Things, you'll love her here. Michelle is tough but vulnerable, determined but clearly haunted. You can see the exhaustion in her eyes, the weight of loss hanging over her. She doesn't have 11 superpowers this time, but she still commands the screen with that same quiet intensity. Chris Pratt? In a dystopian drama? Yep, he's in this. And no, he's not cracking Marvel jokes every 5 minutes. Instead, he plays a former soldier whose past is very messy. He's a reminder that the war that wrecked the world didn't just leave behind rusting machines, it left behind broken people. His performance is surprisingly subdued, giving the movie an extra layer of mystery and tension. The machines, a whole new kind of creepy. The real stars of this movie aren't just the main characters, they're the machines. And let me tell you, they are unsettling in the best way possible. The floating drones. These things just hover in the sky, massive and silent, like they're watching. But for what purpose? They don't attack. They don't speak. They just exist, looming in the background, reminding you that something really bad happened here. The abandoned war machines. Imagine walking through a cornfield and suddenly stumbling across a massive robot slumped over like a forgotten relic. The war that created these machines is over, but their presence lingers, a stark reminder of how quickly humanity can create something powerful and then abandon it. The mind control tech. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Throughout the movie, we get glimpses of people who are still connected to the war through these strange VR-like devices. It's unclear if they're brainwashed, trapped, or just refusing to let go. But one thing is certain. It's disturbing as hell. The way the electric state uses these elements to create tension without ever over-explaining is chef's kiss. The machines are both background noise and major players, making the world feel eerily alive despite its desolation. The nostalgia factor. 80s and 90s, but not like you remember. One of the coolest aspects of the electric state is how it plays with nostalgia. This isn't a movie that slaps neon colors and synthwave music over everything and calls it a day. Instead, it presents a world where faded 80s billboards, rusted-out arcades, and decayed childhood toys create a deep sense of loss. The themes: war, loss, and the weight of the past. Beneath all the cool visuals and sci-fi elements, the electric state is a deeply emotional story about loss. Michelle's journey is personal, but it reflects something bigger. The aftermath of destruction, the scars left behind, and the way people struggle to move forward when everything familiar is gone. Skip represents something more than just a companion. He's a relic of a war that should be over but still lingers. The floating machines and abandoned tech. They're a reminder that sometimes we create things we can't control. And even when the battle is over, the damage remains. Should you watch it? If you're someone who loves deep, thought-provoking sci-fi that lingers in your mind long after the credits roll, this is for you. If you're a fan of Simon Stollenhag's artwork, you're going to geek out over how faithfully the world is brought to life. If you're looking for a fast-paced action movie, you might struggle with the slower pace. Final thoughts. The Electric State isn't just a movie, it's an experience. It's the kind of film that sneaks up on you, making you think about it days later when you see an empty highway at dusk, or hear static on an old radio. It's unsettling, emotional, and visually stunning. And most importantly, it's a reminder that even in the most broken of worlds, there's still a story worth telling.